All right, so welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yes, hello.
And today we're going to be looking at something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, we always talk about
right.
historical records and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like being a digital detective.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at how someone personalized their device.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we've got notes and screenshots showing how this person set up all the different pages of their device. So it's kind of like getting a peek into their digital brain, I guess.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'm really curious to see what we can find out about this person based on how they chose to set things up.
It's funny you should mention the digital brain thing because I've always thought of these personalized text spaces as like extensions of ourselves.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you can really glean a lot about someone's needs and priorities just by looking at how they organize their digital world.
Yeah, definitely. So let's dive in. Okay, so right off the bat, the notes mention modifying Essence pages.
Essence pages.
Yeah, and I don't think they're just talking about just changing the wallpaper or something. It seems like something deeper, more intentional.
It sounds almost philosophical, doesn't it? Essence pages.
Yeah, it does. So what do you think? Could these Essence pages be different profiles, maybe tailored for different tasks?
Ooh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there are dynamic configurations that adapt to what the user's trying to do in the moment.
Oh, that's cool.
Like instead of a static layout, the device could shift its whole functionality based on the chosen Essence page.
Okay, now that's blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this actually plays out in the screenshots.
Me too.
Okay, so we've got a QWERTY keyboard, a music page, tools, a phone directory, and even notebooks.
Wow, a whole suite of tools.
This person wasn't messing around. They had a plan.
It seems like it. That range of pages definitely suggests a very intentional approach to how they use their device.
Right. And they thought about all these different activities and created a digital space for each one.
Yeah, it's like they crafted their own little digital universe.
I love that. A digital universe.
Okay, so let's start with the QWERTY keyboard, a classic, but there's a really prominent speech off button. And honestly, it looks like they designed the whole layout around that button.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, what do you think that means?
Well, it could indicate that the user primarily relies on speech-to-text input, perhaps due to some kind of mobility issue.
Okay, yeah, or just a strong preference for voice commands, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they just prefer to talk to their device.
Exactly. The physical keyboard might just be there as backup, but the prominent speech off button definitely suggests that voice control is the primary mode of interaction.
Okay, so I was thinking maybe they like to dictate messages, but you're right, this could be way more than that.
Right.
Imagine someone with limited dexterity using this device.
That's a great point.
Yeah, this design choice could make technology actually usable for them.
It speaks to a real desire for control over their tech,
Absolutely. Okay, now let's crank up the volume and head over to the music page.
What do you see?
Well, the first thing I notice is those volume buttons.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Okay.
And placed for easy thumb access, almost like the user is operating the device with one hand.
Hold on. A dedicated music page. They didn't just have a music app. They had a whole page just for music. Clearly, this wasn't an afterthought.
Right.
This was central to their digital experience.
Clearly.
It makes you wonder, what kind of music did they love?
Yeah.
What role did it play in their life?
That's what I love about these explorations. They take us beyond the technical and get us thinking about the person behind the tech.
I know. It's really humanizing, right?
It is.
Okay, moving on to the tools page.
Okay.
This one is interesting.
What do we have?
It's a grid layout with a bunch of unlabeled buttons.
Oh.
Super mysterious.
Yeah.
But wait, there are a couple of labeled buttons, speech menu and Ask Me Echo menu.
Okay, Echo. That likely refers to a voice assistant like Alexa or Siri, which, again, reinforces the importance of voice control for this user.
Yeah.
And Ask Me Echo menu suggests that a lot of functionality is accessible through voice commands.
Okay, now it's feeling like we're in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Instead of fumbling through menus, they just tell their device what to do.
And that can be incredibly empowering, especially for someone who might have difficulty navigating complex menus.
Totally. They're not limited by the constraints of the interface.
Right.
Okay, now I'm really curious about those unlabeled buttons.
Yeah, what do you think?
What do you make of those?
Placeholders, maybe? For future customization.
Okay.
Perhaps there are specific tools or apps they want to add, but haven't gotten around to it yet.
Or maybe they're so personalized and unique to this user that we wouldn't even recognize them.
Right, it's like a digital mystery box.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, now we have the the phone directory and notebooks pages.
Okay.
And both of them are essentially blank grids.
Blank.
Yeah. Why would someone go to the trouble of setting up pages and then just leave them empty?
That's where the concept of essence pages might come into play.
Okay.
What if these blank spaces are more like canvases, waiting for the user to fill them in based on their current needs?
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a fresh start.
Exactly. They're not stuck with a static set of contacts or notes.
They can adapt their device on the fly.
Exactly. It's about creating a digital environment that's flexible and responsive.
It's so smart. This is way more than just like, changing the color scheme.
Right.
This is a whole new way of interacting with technology.
It really is.
But I do have one burning question.
What's that?
We talked about all this voice control stuff, but
Yeah.
then there's the speech off button on the keyboard. Why would they need that if they're so reliant on voice control?
Now that is a fantastic question,
Right.
and one that might give us even more insight into this user's habits.
I'm thinking maybe it's less about turning off speech altogether and more about having the choice,
Oh, I like that.
like switching between different modes of interaction depending on the situation.
You're totally right, and that takes us right back to Essence pages.
Yes.
Maybe speech off triggers a different Essence page, one that prioritizes typing.
Oh, okay. This is getting good.
Right.
So let's recap for a second. We've got a user who prioritizes accessibility, clearly loves music, seems comfortable with voice commands,
Yeah.
and potentially organizes their whole digital life around these Essence pages.
Quite the digital trailblazer.
Oh, yeah. I am so hooked. What else can we uncover about this person?
We'll have to save that for part 2.
I can't wait.
That speech off button really is fascinating.
I know, right?
It just goes to show how a tiny detail can raise so many questions.
Totally.
It makes you rethink your assumptions.
Yeah. And speaking of tiny details, there's something else I noticed on the music page.
Oh, what's that?
Remember those huge volume buttons we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, tucked away in the corner, there's a tiny little tools button.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I see it.
It's almost like they wanted to minimize distractions.
Keep the focus on the music.
Exactly. Like when I'm in music mode, nothing else matters.
I can practically see them lost in their own little world, swaying to the music.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about how important music must have been to this person.
Yeah, not just entertainment.
Right.
Maybe a source of comfort or inspiration.
Oh, maybe even like a form of therapy.
It's possible.
What if there's a whole music therapy Essence page with specialized features?
Right.
We're only seeing a few screenshots.
Exactly. There could be a whole universe of personalized pages we haven't even glimpsed.
I know, it's so exciting. Okay, let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
Back to the phone directory and notebooks pages.
Yeah, those blank grids.
Right. We were a bit puzzled by all that empty space, but you said it could be intentional.
It could be, yeah.
Like blank canvases?
What if instead of empty, we think of them as potential?
Okay, I like that.
Those blank spaces could be a deliberate choice to create a minimalist environment.
So instead of being overwhelmed with tons of contacts or notes,
They can focus on just the essentials.
that's a good point.
It's about being intentional with their digital interactions.
Okay, but then how would they know what's in those pages if everything's blank?
Ah, that's where voice control comes in.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine saying, "Show me notes about Project X,"
Right.
and the device instantly pulls up the relevant information.
Even though it's hidden in a blank grid.
Exactly. It's not
It's-
about visual organization. It's about voice-activated retrieval.
Wow. Okay, that's next level.
They've transcended the visual interface.
Created a more intuitive, personalized way of interacting with their tech.
Precisely.
This brings up a really important point about accessibility.
Absolutely.
We often think of accessibility in terms of physical limitations.
Right.
But this deep dive highlights the importance of cognitive accessibility, too.
It's a crucial aspect that often gets overlooked.
What do you mean by that?
Think about the cognitive load of navigating a complex device.
Yeah, all those menus and options, it can be overwhelming.
Exactly. But for this user, the reliance on voice control and those simplified layouts,
Suggests they wanted to reduce that cognitive load.
exactly, to create a more streamlined experience.
So it's not just about making the device physically usable.
Right.
It's about making it mentally accessible, too.
Absolutely, and that's such an important reminder that accessibility isn't one size fits all.
Yeah, everyone's different.
It's about creating tech that adapts to the unique needs of each user.
This deep dive is seriously changing how I think about technology.
Me too. It's so inspiring.
It's not just about gadgets and features. It's about empowering people.
To connect with the digital world in a way that feels authentic.
Yeah. And it's about recognizing that personalization isn't just a trend.
It's a fundamental human need,
We all want a sense of agency and control over our tech.
especially in today's world where tech is so intertwined with our lives.
You know, it's funny, we started trying to decode someone else's digital world, but now I'm thinking about my own relationship with tech.
That's the beauty of these explorations.
They make you step outside your own assumptions.
And consider new ways of being in the digital world.
What if we all took a more intentional approach, like with those Essence pages?
Yeah.
What if we curated our digital spaces to reflect our values and priorities?
Oh, I like that idea.
Imagine having a focus mode page that minimizes distractions.
You really get things done.
Or a creative mode that inspires you with prompts and music.
And easy access to your creative tools.
Exactly. And a social mode with quick links to your favorite messaging apps.
The possibilities are endless.
It all comes back to personalization.
It's not just about aesthetics.
It's about creating a digital environment that supports you.
And empowers you.
Okay, this is making me want to go on a digital decluttering spree and redesign my entire digital life. But first, we have one last page to dissect.
Okay, which one?
The tools page.
Oh, yeah, with all those mysterious buttons.
Right. We talked about the voice control, the potential for personalized functions.
And those blank buttons.
What else can we learn from this page?
Well, let's see.
It's wild to think that we're getting all these insights just from a few screenshots.
I know, right? It's like each page is a little window into this person's life.
It really makes you appreciate how much technology can reveal about who we are.
Absolutely. It's a reflection of our choices, our priorities.
And maybe even our dreams.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, like what we hope to achieve or experience.
It makes you wonder what this person was striving for.
Definitely. Okay, so let's circle back to those unlabeled buttons on the tools page.
Oh, yeah, those have been bugging me too.
I know, right? They're like little mysteries waiting to be solved.
Exactly. What do you think they represent?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Remember we talked about how tech-savvy this user seems to be?
Yeah, and how much they value voice control.
So those blank buttons are probably more than just empty spaces.
Okay, so what are they then?
They could be highly specialized functions.
Like what?
Who knows? Maybe there's a button that triggers a custom meditation app or one that connects to a smart home system we haven't even thought of yet.
It's like we're limited by our own imaginations.
Exactly. This user could be way ahead of the curve in terms of how they're using tech.
It's kind of humbling, right?
It is. We often think we're so advanced with our gadgets and apps.
But this deep dive shows us that real innovation can happen on an individual level.
When people take existing technology and make it their own.
That's so cool. It's not about having the latest and greatest device.
It's about using technology thoughtfully.
To create a digital world that truly reflects who you are.
That's a message that resonates with everyone, I think.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question, dear listener.
Oh, a good one, I hope.
What would your Essence pages look like? If you could personalize your device to reflect your values, what would you prioritize?
That's a great question to ponder. It really gets you thinking about your relationship with technology.
And how you can make it work for you.
Exactly. So, the next time you pick up your device, think about how you can personalize it to better reflect your unique needs.
And that, I think, is a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this digital world with you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep personalizing your digital world.